The Kratom Show. 5 Kratom infographics that will blow your mind. I want to go ahead and pull up the medical disclaimer here and remove my webcam. So nothing said in this video is medical advice. It is for entertainment purposes only. You can pause the video and read the full thing if you like, and try to make the best medical disclaimer that I could make. So let's move on with the post. So this is a blog post I did on the Kratom blog, and it is made up of the 5 highest ranked Kratom infographics on the internet. So if you type in Kratom infographic on Google and you click images for Google Images, these are the ones, and they are actually they appear in the order that they are arranged in this YouTube video also, and in my blog post. I'm basing this YouTube video on my blog post. Anyway, so this is number 1. Let's do it. No, then I disappear. We do it like this. This is number 1. This is a very large Kratom study by Johns Hopkins Medicine University. So this study was actually, let's see if I can do this. That wasn't better. So this study is actually the largest Kratom study that I've come across. It was a study of 2,798 people. So I'm going to round up here to 2,800 people. Survey of adult Kratom users in the US provides insight into potential harm and abuse, in the potential for harm and abuse. So let's go through some of the numbers here. 84% out of people that were in this study had some type of college education, right? They were 40% year old on average, so not exactly teenagers running around, right? 40 years old on average. 61% were women. So let's move into reasons why they were doing Kratom. And the thing to understand about these percentages is that you could check several options. So it's not like either or. You could check several of them, 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them, all of them. So these percentages aren't supposed to add up to 100. They're supposed to add up to like 400 or 500 or whatever the percentage. Right, so 91% of people use Kratom for pain relief. 91%. This is by far the most common reason to do Kratom. And 67% used it for anxiety. 64% used it for depression. And 41% out of 2,800 people, I'm actually going to remove my headphones. 41% out of 2,800 people had actually used Kratom to get off of opioids or to reduce their opioid intake, right? A massive reduction, eventually you get off it, right? If you reduce the intake enough. So that's 41%, and Kratom has actually been used to get off morphine, opium, and heroin for hundreds of years. Yeah, it's been used for that for a long time, but it's only the last like 20-30 years that like sort of like Europe and North America has sort of that the populations in Europe and North America has started using Kratom at a large scale, right? It has become like sort of widely adopted. Anyway, so let's move on to of the people that used Kratom to treat opioid dependence, 87% got relief from the physical withdrawal symptoms. So we're talking about 87% here. That's almost 9 out of 10. And 35% out of those 87% were completely opioid free a year later. So we're talking about not a reduction, a complete absence of opioids. So if 35% were opioid free, I wonder what percentage that had reduced their opioid intake, right? That would have been an interesting number as well. And we can move on to less than 10% met the criteria for mild kratom substance use disorder. And less than 3% met the criteria for moderate or severe kratom substance use disorder. And what I don't like about these percentages is that less than 10%, that could be 9.9%, 5%, 3%, 1%, 0%, 0 is less than 10, 5 is less than 10, 9 is less than 10. So, how old are you? Less than 500. Okay. How old are you? Less than 9,000. Okay. And less than 3%, that could be 2.9%, 2.5, 2, 1.5, 1, 0.5, 0.4, 0.1, 0.0001, 0. 0 is less than 3 also. So I don't like these descriptions. I think they're very, very vague when they could actually give us the specific number. Like if the number is 2.4%, I mean, we're grown-ups, we can handle it, right? We can handle it. And then moving on to side effects. 19% of people reported getting mild side effects. So this is a cold, mild body aches, a sort of lighter headache, physical discomfort, things like that. And actually, if you do too much kratom and you get an overdose, then you really get side effects. Then you get nausea, you feel sick, you feel seasick, but on land is like the best description I've ever heard. You get sick. Like you feel like you're eating 4 meals, but you can't throw up, and then you just feel sick. And then the more you move, the sicker you get, so you have to lie still. The only option is to lie completely still and just wait it out. And it takes like 2 or 3 hours for that top to drop, right? For the peak to drop, I might say. Anyway, so 1.9% reported serious side effects. So I don't know exactly what they mean by that, but that's 1.9%. That might be, aligned with certain medications, things like that, where most people are fine, but some people do get serious side effects. And 9.5% reported getting physical withdrawal symptoms when they stopped using kratom. So they took kratom like every day for a couple months, and they stopped taking it. And 9.5% out of those 2,800 reported getting physical withdrawal symptoms like abstinence symptoms, right? That means that 90.5% got no physical withdrawal symptoms. I'm in that group personally, and I have a couple of friends that are in that group as well. But some people do get withdrawal symptoms, but it appears like around 90% don't. Like if you look at this study, I don't know the truth, but if you look at this study, that's what it looks like. So that was number 1. I'm gonna scroll down here. Number 2. So this one is actually made by a company called the Kratom Scoop. So this is obviously a kratom company that's selling kratom or doing something like that. Things you should look for while taking kratom. Ensure to stay hydrated while taking kratom. Kratom will dehydrate your body significantly. Hence, you must ensure that you drink enough water while consuming kratom. My little point on that is that if you actually take kratom as a shot mixed with water, and then you follow with a potentiator like lemonade, lime water, lemon water, apple juice, orange juice, grapefruit juice, apple cider vinegar. I always use one of those personally. Apple cider vinegar is just my last resort. I hate the taste of apple cider vinegar. Not in a salad, but in a shot, I hate it. Then kratom doesn't seem to dehydrate you. Like maybe it does in some way and you don't really like notice it, but yeah, kratom is made from dried powder. Kratom is dried powder. It's leaves that have been picked, dried, and ground into a powder, right? Here's the camera. Yeah, like that. So if you take kratom with like a full, I usually drink like 1.5 glasses of water if you count the apple juice and the water, because I follow the apple juice with water because I want to have otherwise you'll break down the teeth with all that acid, drinking juice all the time. So I follow with water, or rinse the mouth at least with regular water, just to save the teeth. But here's their second tip. Consume kratom on an empty stomach. Yes, this is sort of like a newbie mistake of taking kratom after eating food. Do not do that. It's a terrible idea. The worst thing you can do is eat a giant meal of steak and potatoes and sauce and dessert, a giant carrot cake, and then follow with a fat dose of kratom. You don't want to do that. You're going to get sick. You're going to throw up. But after you throw up, it actually feels better. So you want to throw up. It's like, when you drink too much alcohol and you throw up, it actually feels good. Like the body is purging itself. Like the body doesn't want to be sick. So when you take kratom, do it on an empty stomach or on a light meal. Like if you eat a light meal and you wait 1 or 2 hours and you take kratom, that's okay. But if your stomach is full of food and you take kratom, that's a recipe for disaster, I'm telling you. Make a note of dosage requirement of each strain. Each kratom strain has a specific dosage required to get the desired results. While you are trying out a new strain for the first time, you need to take care of the dosage mouth with it. I actually think this is language that have been ran through Google Translate, and then it came out as this on the other side. It's actually what I'm guessing. We're moving on to the next one. This is literally the second highest ranked kratom infographic on the internet. It's very beautiful. Make use of quality kratom strains. You must get kratom strain or powder or capsule only from the place that provides high quality kratom. Yeah, you see, this is not written by a native English speaker, right? I'm not a native English speaker either, so who am I to complain? Be well informed of all the kratom strains. While taking kratom, you must be informed about different strains and what they are useful for. That's basically just a filler sentence. It isn't really saying anything. So I'm just gonna scroll down and hit number 3. So this kratom infographic might be the most interesting one, in my personal opinion. It was ranked as number 3. It reads like this. Media coverage of kratom, unfair and unbalanced. A review of nearly 2,500 news stories from February 1 to mid-May 2019 found that 92% were negative, 6% were neutral, and 2% were positive. The result is a lot of reefer madness style media coverage outside online. So these are actually new. They're taking headlines from various newspapers. This one was called Outside Online. And the headline of this particular article read like this. Is kratom a performance enhancer or a lethal opioid? So it might not be true that kratom is technically opioid. It definitely does some opioid-like things, but technically speaking, kratom is a leaf. It is a leaf that is picked, dried, and then ground into a powder. And it's also unclear whether you can die from kratom. Like some people think you can die from a kratom overdose. Some people think you can't. Even some critics of Kratom who think that it should be made illegal have said that you cannot die from a Kratom overdose. Like, I've read that a couple times. Like, that's from people bashing Kratom. So it's like a discussion. And there have actually been some studies when they gave very, very, very large doses of Kratom to animals. They did like rats and mouses, and then rabbits, and I think dogs and monkeys, and they were not able to kill any animals, even though they did like 10x, but 10x a normal dose, or 20x, 30x. This is so much Kratom that a human being couldn't even ingest 30x the normal dose of Kratom. Like, you would start puking at maybe 5x, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 maybe. You would start puking. And when you got that overdose, you would actually get sick, and you would vomit. First, you would vomit from the experience of ingesting way too much plant material. Like, if you had to eat like a complete cake in 2 minutes, you would just vomit from the experience. And then you would vomit from when the Kratom powder actually entered the bloodstream, and it created like an overdose reaction. And when you experience a Kratom overdose reaction, you get sick and you vomit. So you would vomit maybe for the first reason, and if not, then for the second reason, basically. Right, so headline, this one was for Health Central. The herbal supplement that could poison you. Psychology Today, a very large newspaper. I read a lot of stuff from there. Kratom, deadly supplement or supplementing death. So this dramatic headline was Kratom, deadly supplement or supplementing death. I don't even know what that means, really. Like, I know what a deadly supplement is. It's a supplement that you take and then you die, right? That's pretty easy to understand. What does supplementing death mean? I'm not sure, but it does sound really, 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 really bad. And then we have here, millions of Americans consume Kratom today, and they don't see their experience or stories reflected in this unfair and unbalanced coverage. It's time for the news media to start covering Kratom fairly. We're here to help. Kratom Information and Resource Center. Facts, not fiction. Fighting for the truth about Kratom. So this organization is obviously like a Kratom advocate type organization. These are not people who are trying to make Kratom illegal. These are people who are trying to keep Kratom legal. That said, I do think they have a point about news coverage. News coverage of Kratom is almost universally negative. Like, it's very, very, very few news stories that have a positive spin when it comes to Kratom. So yeah, here we got a trailer for Reefer Madness, right? Blah 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 blah. Moving on, and yeah, you might want to check in. Like, I have a if you type in I am Kratom on Twitter, you get a bunch of interesting results. If you type in I am Kratom on Facebook, you get a bunch of interesting results. I am Kratom on YouTube, a bunch of interesting results. I am Kratom on Pinterest, a bunch of interesting results. And I am Kratom on Tumblr. So all of these leads to a whole host of testimonials and personal stories, success stories of people who started taking Kratom and sort of got their life together, you might say. Right, so we're going down to infographic number 4. I got lazy load here, which you see. So there we go. So this one is made by Kratom. This is a Kratom company. Facts of Kratom powder. Know what and where Kratom came from. So here we got this image of Kratom seeds, Kratom plants, Kratom trees. And then it sort of goes round and round and round and round. Mitragina speciosa is a leafy tree that grows from 3 to 20 meters tall. Its leaves contain 7-hydromitragynine and Mitragynine. Kratom is legal in most countries, including the United States and all of Europe. That is actually isn't true. It is, I think, illegal in Norway, and in some countries it is in the gray zone. That's it. It's not illegal. No, nobody's going to jail for kratom, but you might get fined or something like that. However, it is illegal in some countries, including Australia, Malaysia, Myanmar, and Thailand. It has a relatively long history of human use. Yes, hundreds of years. And I also want to mention here that kratom, back in 2021, kratom became 100% legal in Thailand to grow, sell, and use. So this is great news for tourism, because now way more people are going to want to go to Thailand. And this is great news for the farmers in Thailand, because what they call kratom, they call it a cash crop. Kratom is a cash crop for farmers in Thailand. It is the thing that they can grow that makes them the most money out of everything that is legal, to my knowledge. In what I read in articles, farmers in Thailand make a lot of money on kratom, way more than other herbs. It's what I read, and I read that in the Bangkok Post, so I don't think the Bangkok Post would lie about that. Right, here we got a little bit of text. What else? Mitragyna speciosus is a tropical deciduous and evergreen tree in the coffee family, Rubicae, native to Southeast Asia. Yes, kratom does belong to the coffee family, and kratom is actually way more similar to coffee than marijuana. I have at times described kratom as a mix between coffee and marijuana, but kratom literally it doesn't give you any hallucinations at all. It doesn't change your personality at all. It isn't significantly addictive for most people. It is much closer to coffee, actually. It is, I would say it's actually pretty close to coffee. It's if you present it as a type of coffee that gives pain relief, that doesn't create like the perfect, it's not a perfect description, but it's pretty good description, I would say. And coffee is addictive. Like nicotine is addictive. If you stop drinking coffee, you get a massive headache. I don't even drink coffee, but I know people that have drank coffee for a long time and don't stop. They get a massive headache, and it stays with you for, 5, 6, 7 days. It's not a fun experience. Right, so that was one by Cracking Kratom. So yeah, I'm just writing a little bit of things here. Here's the article by Bangkok Post that I talked about, and here's another one by ABC News. Right, so let's jump down to number 5. So this infographic was ranked as number 5, and this basically just lists a bunch of health benefits. And I can't assure you that all of them are correct. I think some of them are exaggerated, but some of them are probably true, you know? So this is made by HerbSense. Kratom's strain chart. Kratom's body benefits: stimulant, digestion, painkiller, appetite, libido. I haven't found an effect on libido. Most people haven't. So I don't think it increases libido at all. Appetite, it tends to reduce appetite because kratom boosts your internal state. And so people that have a reflex to run and eat whenever they feel terrible on the inside, whenever their internal state drops, and that tends to be reduced because kratom will boost your internal state. And yes, it's a very potent painkiller, and it seems to be good for digestion in the sense that it takes away stress, and stress is like the ultimate killer of digestion, right? And here we have blood sugar control. I haven't noticed any blood sugar benefits from kratom. I don't know how true that is. Strong immunity. Yes, I do think kratom does boost immunity. Better sleep, obviously. You have tried one time and you pretty much understand what it does. Antioxidant property, I guess it's very hard to sort of like, you can't from a personal experience perspective feel if it has antioxidant properties or not. You have to basically look at the compounds and things like that, right? So I wanted to just show you these. These are a bunch of Reddit threads. I take Kratom daily and have not gotten sick since the pandemic was announced. Anyone similar? Right, so I wanted to read you that one. I wanted to show you that one. This one was I'm never sick. Been taking Kratom for a year and haven't caught a cold. This was a comment in a previous post, but I think it should be looked at closer. My entire life, I've been extremely sick a couple of times, at least a year at least, especially in the winter. For the first time in my life, I haven't caught a cold all year. Thoughts? I take a tablespoon a day, 2-3 times, but not more. I smoke. Yeah. So let's do that one. Kratom users and not getting sick. What's the deal? I've heard it's an immunomodulator. I haven't been sick since I started taking it over 6 years ago. I've seen other threads where many people say the same. Yeah, maybe. And let's check this one out. Since I've taken Kratom 4 years now, I stopped getting sick or feeling the symptoms. Yeah. Is it just me or has anyone else experienced this? Since I was a child, I was always getting sick every 3 or 4 months. But ever since I started taking Kratom 4 years ago, I no longer get the symptoms like blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And this one thread, these threads all have a lot of comments. I swear Kratom is a cheat code for a cold. I don't use Kratom every day anymore, but when I do it, it seems like it improves my immune system. Yeah, maybe it does. And here we got, who here hasn't been sick in over 6 months? Is Kratom boosting our immune system? And the last one has 93 comments. So yeah, I think here I write some stuff, blah, 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 blah. And that's it. Thank you, everybody.